go for them.
Now, the main mistake Soniqs was making yesterday against MNM was going to be that they try to play the diffuser game very heavily. And that's a good thing. However, unfortunately, time and time again, they were picked up unfortunate ways where the diffuser was dropped and they couldn't quite recover it as the time ran out. And with that also, some of the players were enabled to go for these big clutches. Pino, for example. That is something that Soniqs is not enabling MNM to do. They first bait someone else in, send someone in, find out whether or not someone is there, then the diffuser goes, and it's not the diffuser that's the first to enter.
The limit of the buck there, obviously an operator that we saw Super running very well on the previous map. It takes away a lot of the vertical play here, kind of. You're still looking at the sledge in the pocket. You're still looking at the sort of places that verticality might happen. Around kitchen becomes a little bit more awkward because you can't sort of do it from range and try and avoid C4s. And obviously if you're trying to get quick clarity across the map, which sometimes you might have to if you're a slower team, it's easier to do it at the buck to sort of swing between the skeleton key and a gun and go for a little bit of a clear and open up your late game rotations in the same breath. Church and Arsenal is where Soniqs are going to start themselves off here. And obviously this was, you know, we sort of have very relevant and sort of recent data because they went up against NIP on this map and they started previously on their attack. It was a couple of missed opportunities. It was a couple of timeouts. It was a couple of... They were sort of just breaching onto the site. The first being probably... I mean, it's 2 of the rounds yesterday. In fact, both of them on Church. They ran out of time on their attack.
Yeah, and that was due to the fact, as I just mentioned, the big issue was the diffuser being dropped time and time again. NIP going for that hero play, somehow finding the drop onto the ground, and with that, play the timer until the very last seconds and find a response, find a win as a result. And that is something they need to prevent from happening right now. They need to keep that diffuser in control. Because I have to say, back then they were very efficient at opening everything up. The attacks, they seemed very good. They were in 5v2 situations. But it's just those last 10 seconds and the diffuser gets found by an NIP player that went like unseen before. That seemed to be the doom and gloom on the side of the Soniqs. So they have some clear pointers to work on here, and I'm sure they have. Because when I walked back and I said to Joe, bro, nice try. I mean, you did what you could. He's like, no, there is definitely things that we could have improved on. And surely they have by now. As MNM starts on the attack first.
They had set themselves up with a little bit of an aggressive fight there to cancel. He was waiting for Rexen even, I believe it was the Jaeger actually, that was waiting around. Yes, the Jaeger was sitting and sort of hoping to have an engagement on obviously the door, which when you're looking at a very tall side at this point, you're looking at the Church take and you're looking at a handful of players that wait and C4s out of the breach there onto the construction wall. They're trying to find, well, anything from MNM. They're sort of making them feel uncomfortable. They're playing against this approach. A little bit of a scrape over the top of Solotov as they slip away, but no damage dealt, just a bit of a cautionary tale. Users is going to see if they can try and get the pinch from the opposite side as Yeti is trying to reconvene with the rest of the players. They've gone for this taken clarity. You can still see that Super has some presence inside kitchen, I believe, at this moment in time. So he's underneath. No, he's gone all the way back, actually, from rotating around.
And just quickly making a way back towards the side. This is wasting time, making themselves known. Hey, we're upstairs, and then suddenly falling back around a certain timestamp. It's not too uncommon, actually, to see, and with that, you waste that time from MNM. You try and make them drone. They see you, you fall back, they need to drone again, suddenly you're no longer there. A lot of time gets wasted, and as a result, there's only 1 minute and 15 seconds left now. As hatches still need to be opened up, and MNM is only just finding a little bit of safety inside that first floor. And as the Twitch drones are starting to come out, and Tyrant is looking to find a way in as well with a drone to see whether or not blue will be clear. MNM is clearly looking to find an entry somewhere to base their push around.
As I said, opening up those rotations and playing this dangerous long arm game here is one that taking rid of the, or getting rid of the buck even makes it a little bit more challenging. It was MNM's choice. So the sledge is going to have this little dangerous dip dance as they try and crack their way across the top without the Kaid and the Thatcher. It's a pretty standard take here with the aggression that might come through. They obviously have the Maverick, they have that slow burn, and then the exothermics to try and make things a little bit faster. Kitchen hatch still closed, and with 30 seconds, it seems like they're just going to see if they can swing their way through. The grenade actually took out the smoke canister there. They aimed for a player, but got that instead. It's still a blower utility, and that allows Nilo to go for a drop. Neo's stacked up on the main stairs as well. Rexon is a backline against 2 players. They're going to see if they can get rid of him, but as pipe starts to be broken open and taken over, Kansan pulls himself just out of range of the smoke canister. Nello has a different idea. Yeti and Users and Tyrant all over the board. Yeti with another swing, but look at the timer. He's the only player left, but he's in the perfect position. No! Users has that locked off on the far side, and they didn't have much time, but they knew what to do with it.
They definitely did. The force through the triple wall there was going to be successful in the end. The pre-fire coming through, I'm not quite sure if there was a drone in place that gave them that information or if it was experience coming out from the side of Nello that he knew exactly that, you know, it is often a place that people sit at. Let's just go for that pre-fire just to be sure. And with that, you pick up an important kill, one that could counter you if you try and get the defuse down. And MNM, they find their first attacking round. It will be CCTV Cash coming up next. However, it is a little bit of a different side, but also one that everybody knows how to attack. I mean, we spoke about Oregon and how everybody knows the map. The same goes for Clubhouse, with especially CCTV. It is a clear step-by-step plan, and there is basically only 2 takes you could really go for. Either you go for a default plan behind the server rack. You open up the balcony wall, the double wall that goes outside on CC. You take control of garage, and afterwards you have free reign to go, and you just need to make sure that you bait out utility. C4s, smoke canisters, and potential players from below, so a lobby presence is nice. The other way around would be to open up that balcony just so you can cut off any rotations back from the garage. And then you go for a construction site push, so you go for the cash room itself. As our observer Medics is currently highlighting, through that wall that Yeti is currently putting up a Mew Gemmer on. Before there was only 2 walls, so sometimes you saw 1 wall reinforced, the other one was left soft, so there was a way to challenge with, of course, a bit of security. This time, or with the latest changes, it became a singular wall. So it is now close or open up, which is often turned into closing it up just to make sure you have that safety.
Rexon once again looking for an early challenge here, but nobody is home. This time it seems like Kansan is going to be the player up on the rafters, a massive power position to keep him locked in, and a powerful gun with the ADSs for some support. Yeti, he's going to wait for this hatch to get opened, and then he's going to see if he can try and take the engagement behind it. There's the reveal. Doesn't trust taking the fight and doesn't want to throw the C4 this time around, so instead pulls back. Again, it's expectations. They probably expected MNM to pull away because MNM expected a C4. At that point, it's worth holding onto the utility because there is still a lot of verticality, and we know Yeti likes to try and exploit that.
Try and exploit it indeed. The Roams have been quite strong in Oregon, and he's trying to put one up right now as well, near the logistics area. And as they have done the work with the sledgehammer, it's now up to Neo. He is the next one in line to start opening up the wall onto CCTV Cash. And with Tyrant using the Jackal here, he might actually be able to split out some of these feet. Tyrant swinging around the corner, receives some pre-fires, at least knows that Jetty is quite close as he returns fire towards the Jacuzzi wall. He's in a bit of a stalemate here. Neither of them are picking each other up, as Tyrant actually goes quite low and is forced to drop the hatch for survivability.
I think at that point, even if you got the feed, it doesn't matter if you're an active firefighter, as Yeti proves. He's able to take care of Solitov. They've now lost that sledge. They've lost grenades outside of the ones in Neo's pocket on the far side. There was a bit of a surprising take, even for Tyrant, I think, at that moment in time. He was gifted the player on the corner. Grix with a great take over the top. But it's a little bit late to save Yeti's life, and it's back and forth. Tyrant is obviously still injured, but this time he's able to get a scan without actually having the pressure applied onto him himself. They are now going to see if they can try and solidify the site, but obviously losing the Twitch and losing the sledge, even though they've still got the capabilities of the hard destruction, and with Tyrant going down as well, they might be about to lose everything but hard destruction. Gritcher catches himself a Pokemon.
Indeed, the impact nade used there to pick up the very first kill. The Soniqs are looking to fight back. They want to make sure that they're staying on this, and they want to take this with a 2-0 fashion themselves as well. A quick opening attempted to be made there by the characters of Grixer, but quickly realizes as well there was going to be that Mew Gemmer, unfortunately taken out from below, which forces the opening to be made. The exothermic in control. The grenade comes in, but it somehow drops back down before it can do too much damage. Which the player was already stepped up onto a desk as well. Grixer was in that safe space, but needs to be very careful as Neo comes right up on the balcony right here, repelled. Now trying to take the gunfight, loses his life. It's a triple from Grixer, and as the smokes are coming through, flashbangs are being tossed back in. It's Kansan with the very final kill, and the Soniqs, they hold off CCTV quite successfully.
It was the play that happened around Gym. They sort of tried to go for a hefty Gym and bedroom take. They wanted to push their way across, then get into obviously the logistics and construction, give themselves a little bit width, get construction wall open, and try and force the back line of Red that way round. But the hold that Soniqs had, they had already got themselves in place in position to fight against that. They were consistently trying to find the firefight. They weren't giving over territory. They weren't trying to lean into the aggression that was otherwise being put, you know, before them entirely, but they also weren't entirely pulling back. They were making sure that they were sort of swinging and spraying and then going back into logistics and then maybe flirting with the idea of going a little bit wider onto the top of brick stairs, and then now we're back in construction, and that idea made MNM uncomfortable. Obviously, the Jackal had to drop out and was able to get the kill from the huge rotation onto the main stairs, but the work of sort of dibbling and dabbling was good enough to just, well, take bodies and time.
Alrighty then, we continue. The gym in the bedroom is up next. Church opted to not go back to yet by the Soniqs themselves after MNM found massive success out there. Able to just force themselves through the triple wall. They had nothing to deal with it at that moment in time. The smoke canister also slightly misplaced, allowing for the plant to eventually, well, not come through as the kill came in the end right before Nello finished his job of pressing F. I don't know what it is in Croatian. Medics, what is CCI plant in Croatian? Trying to...
Are you listening to Medics right now?
I'm listening to Medics, but I have no clue.
Well, you're not going to be able to repeat that because that's not...
I don't even know
You're
how to
asking him
it.
For two different languages translated into...
Yeah, it's...
you want to know what yes in Croatian is?
It doesn't exist in Croatian.
You just need the word yes.
They just say... They don't say anything, they just plant.
Okay, enough about that. Let's have a look at the site itself, because the pressure, well, it's coming from deep, but it starts at CC. The same way that we saw a clear come from one side to the other. Here it's a little bit more traditional, and they're going to get some pings on the players back on the red, but you sort of knew that they would be there. Rexon, he's buried behind a shield and a lot of reinforcements and walls and solidity over the cross of CC. It's how you get rid of him. They've gone for the big breach, as most teams do, but it's not just a matter of trying to swing and bounce grenades around. There's concern of the loose Soniqs players. There is one all the way down underneath, currently an armory, and it's just keeping a cautious sort of eye on the chance of that return. You assume it's Kansan.
You can make a guess. It's actually Yeti that is,
is it Yeti?
down on the bottom
floor.
Yes, of course.
It's been sort of
flank man.
Yeah, well, to be fair, on this map so far, Yeti's been more on site and Kansan's been more on an adventure, but I guess Grix is going to be on the adventure so far of, hey, Nello, goodbye, Nello. Locks it off. They're able to get a bit of a breach there. Was that a potential jump out? It was a swing by the looks of it. They weren't able to stop him. Solotov suffers massively, wants to try and take a fight here, but it's a huge sort of gambit. The diffuser is cold and Yeti is directly underneath, but Tyrant is right behind Yeti. The creep round the corner, it's a crouch walk, it's a reveal, and it's a take of that loose player.
I was going to say, he doesn't even use the Inox scanner there to figure out whether or not he was still there. Probably a drone was in that position. They called it out. They went for the hunt. They managed to bring it back to an equal scoreline. Solotov, however, is still quite low, so has to be a little bit careful with how he proceeds in the round. Preferably not be in that front line, but work a little bit from the back, hold these angles and potential flanks. As Rexon, aware of the fact that someone could be coming up on these red stairs here, spots out the player, gets the kill. It's Tyrant down. Solotov in an injured state as well, needs to drop back. As Users finds a response, it's Grixer to drop, but it's only up to Neo now. He needs to go and help up his teammate as the lulls are coming out of in the chat. As he takes a couple of shots right there, he finds himself into safety, at least for now. And he's debating whether or not he should tell Solotov to drop or if they just pick him up on the balcony here. It is quite dangerous as someone was still around, but the rest of the Soniqs, they have already fallen back towards the actual side. They know they have the advantage here. There's only 20 seconds left on the clock, and MNM, they need to force themselves through yet once more.
It's going to start here, over construction with a handful of seconds. Kansan's on the position to go for a swing, and Solotov, well, he's about to open a door. There's one, there's two! Kansan has the full stop on a round that was a little bit of a swirling sentence between the two teams. Started by, I assume, a jump out there of Grixer based on where the diffuser was and based on where we saw Grixer be at the end of it onto construction window. Soniqs get themselves their second round. Do you know who else has got themselves a second?
Is it Empire by any chance?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
I just took a gamble down there. I'm like, maybe they're done by now, but okay.
I know we didn't give a spoiler warning to that one, but...
No. But hey, Soniqs is already in anyway, right? At this point. So we've already knew that they were able to qualify themselves for the playoffs, and that is going to be the takeaway for this matchup. However, there is a lot more at stake for MNM as they had that first place still available to them. I'm not quite sure what actually would happen if Soniqs takes this 2-0. Can we quickly flip over the book towards the group stage?
Oh, well, this was yesterday's.
Oh, okay. I'll pull it up.
Stat person.
I'm pulling it up. I'm taking the time because I'm thinking we might actually find the Soniqs not be in that 4th place. And if they do manage to get out, which I'm checking as we speak. Oh, that is spicy. Right, so Empire taking that win.
So they're on 8.
They're on 8. Are now in 1st place. MNM are in 6 and NIP are on 7. Which means that if MNM takes this 2-0, they will also be on 8 and they would have the head-to-head over Empire. However, if the Soniqs win this with 2-0, they'll be on 7 points.
Have the head-to-head.
And knock MNM down into 4th place into the group, which means that they lost their extra life and will be sent down to the lower bracket instantly. So certainly this match, with the result on the other side of things, have gotten so much more interesting in terms of seeding point, because it is the battle for 4th place.
I mean, we have it all sort of threaded together there. We have an idea of how everything's coming together, and obviously the way it works out with NIP taking MNM 2. For context, NIP, I believe, are entirely solidified. They are in 2nd place. They have the head-to-head against both Soniqs and MNM. So Soniqs and MNM, they're currently playing for that 3rd, 4th divide. Whoever wins gets that extra life, gets that extra swing of the bat of the game.
Yeah. And that's how important it will be. It's either an extra life or you'll lose it. That is the important seat of this map. Actually, this map, because I think that if MNM pick up 1, they will be over the Soniqs.
Well, that's nuts.
That's it, you know. So Soniqs, they really need to make sure that Clubhouse goes their way. And with the vertical angles currently being created by Solotov, he just misses out on an opportunity to pick up onto a Soniqs player. It's going to be Claymore's set up. They want to make sure that everything is ready to go when they do go for a final execute, because they know there is no roamers currently. They need to focus on opening up these hatches, but a Nitro Cell could be pre-placed, set and ready to go if Grixer is feeling like it. Might even be waiting for a potential plant, using it as a countermeasure.
Well, obviously the mirror is that stretch. They have themselves with some angles here. The exothermics are going in similar places before. Solotov, he might try and do a little bit more work onto kitchen and make sure this back line onto pipes isn't populated. That's that reason that line gets open, so nobody can just go for that swing all the way around onto the back as soon as they go for a drop. But Grixer, he decides he wants to sort of move into the territory regardless. Caught on a drone though, he quickly moves back out. It's not worth losing your life, especially as you're still sort of burning time. Yeti's on the far side, keeping the dirt tunnel under their control, and the first time kitchen hatch is being opened. Obviously the change was the Maverick was pulled away. Instead they've gone with a little bit more of this pacey aggression. I pointed out that Maverick can open a lot of stuff, but it's slow, and slow isn't really the ammo that they want with how close things were to the breach and the break before. Solotov, he's waiting for this to get popped open, hoping somebody's behind that final box. Tyrant wants to try and creep his way past the barbed wire. Everybody is stacked and stopped, ready to go. It's just waiting for the pull of the cord, and it might start here. The rip against Rexon doesn't quite get the same effect they want. 20 seconds, a hop back up and a quick foot, but it's Nello and Solotov that go for the aggression. The drop, Nello's in the corner. You assume the canisters are going to pop over the top two. Solotov has Grixer on the back of the big box, but the diffuser is cold. The same problem Sonic suffered yesterday. Neo goes for the recollection, but Kansan has it all cleared out. Yeti with the swing if he needs to. It's Users that takes the fight. Drop down one more. Solotov. Soniqs, their 3rd in a row.
The timer runs out there, and even though they had the entry, you already saw it, a little bit of damage being done. Flashbangs that were being tossed in left, right, and center, but just that one slip, just being able to pick up Nello, so important, because that forces a second to drop. Yeti comes out of the dirt tunnel, picks up yet another kill, and a 3rd one needs to go for the drop as well, and he just picks them up one by one, and slowly but steadily secures the ramp for Soniqs, who are now leading 3-1, and are looking to pick up that 3rd place. That is what they're playing for right now. Suddenly the upper bracket is within reach. That is what they will be aiming for here. After a good round. Onto the defense on that bottom floor. And it will be going back towards the CCTV area now. They held on to that quite well. It came back to a Grixer triple kill. It was a lot of damage done to the sides of MNM, of course, on the other side of the map, near the bedroom area. Something they need to prevent from happening on the attack this time around. Whereas the Soniqs still gladly replay that round exactly how it went before to make sure that, you know, you can just continue on like that. Either way, 3-1. The Soniqs in that lead have that one map advantage currently as well. They won the map pick of MNM, which was Oregon, and now are looking strong on their own. Clubhouse. And they don't want to go to a decider. May that be clear.
Here's a little fun fact I'm just going to throw out.
Okay.
Brackets will be announced tomorrow at noon.
Okay, okay.
Tomorrow at noon. Put it in your timers. Put it in your calendars, your clocks. Put it in everything. Tomorrow at noon. Build some hype.
Let me just set an alarm straight up.
Set your alarm and I'll set my sights on MNM and Soniqs right now as they're still trying to find their way across. It was an even half start on the previous map on Oregon. Club here. Soniqs have been able to get themselves locked in on their defense, which, to be fair, based on how things sort of went before, is a much better step up. They're looking confident. They're looking to be in these positions, and currently MNM are struggling to sort of get that read in on these approaches. Obviously, this is the sort of preferred side for against them, and it's trying to get that drive. It's trying to just find some of that mentality, because if they find themselves in the 4-2 split, it's standard. They need to try and just cement that second, though, because if they're going on the 4-1 for the fight on that sort of final one, it becomes much tougher.
It has become much tougher indeed. A minute and 15 seconds have passed just now. You heard some Excars being popped, and MNM have one man down below. Some pings are coming through. It's Tyrant that has a grenade in pocket that seems to be potentially hunting down Yeti. But with the opening of the construction, suddenly his rotation back towards the side became a lot more difficult. Solotov actually jumps off. At the moment, Yeti's coming around the corner. It was an opportunity to pick up the kill, but now grenades are being tossed in blindly here. As they thought someone was inside, the drone of Nello gets taken out by the actual grenade that Solotov tossed in. And as a result, they now do not exactly know whether or not that area of the map will be cleared out or not. Tyrant already near the main door is looking through the lounge, hoping to find Rexon in his current position. He's ready for a jump out. He's looking to go for it as soon as he gets the call for the rappel. Pings are coming through on the side of MNM, and it's going to be the pickup here from Yeti, who sneaks around the corner from the baby steps and will be able to pick up the very first kill. Neo, aware of the fact that a jump out could occur, is just waiting in front of the window and looking to find a way to rappel up, because they need to attack the site. 45 seconds on the clock. The jump out is being held. Rexon, is he aware of that? That is going to be the big question.
Well, there it is. Full awareness. Usus had the lockdown onto Rexon, and obviously Yeti was not too far away, but it might be the second swing that comes through here, whether they know he's gone to stock. They might not know. Usus, he's going to give the game away. The spray doesn't quite fully connect, but he's so injured and so between two players. It was only super to be at the end. Neo suffers on the approach. Grixer finds the end, and Yeti with a C4, and suddenly it's all fallen away from MNM. Soniqs just entirely closed the door there on the approach, on the multiple different angles they tried between red and construction. It was locked out. They went for the same push as before, but this time, well, same result as the last time, to be fair. Soniqs 4-1.
Attack was too slow from MNM, and the Soniqs played perfectly into that. They had some roamers about. They rotated around at the very right moment, because as soon as the drones started coming in from MNM, Solotov jumped off the construction balcony. At that moment, it was actually the rotate coming in from Yeti, as they used grenades to get rid of logistics. No one was there anymore. It's missed utility. And Yeti being able to go to the baby steps to pick up their very first kill. Crucial for the Soniqs, because that means that that launch control is no longer in the hands of MNM, and they have that verticality if they would need it.
Okay, Soniqs, can you get yourself your fifth? Gym is where we're going to go to, and you know, since that early round where Church went away from you with some ferocity from MNM, it has been a sort of Sonic show here on your defense. You've been able to really wrap yourself into this game, and it's almost that mirror image of how it went before, except this time you're sort of in the driving seat. One difference, and it turned into a 3-3 split, so it's almost, but not quite. You've been able to do one better. It seems like you sort of have this pressure onto MNM. MNM, as you said, it was a bit slow, it was a bit cautious, which seems to be this word that's overhanging. They haven't quite been able to get that consistent lock in there. The back line of Neo and Nello hasn't quite been able to pop off Solotov as well, who was huge during the qualifiers to get them here, and the run obviously in CL too. All of the players carried themselves.
They definitely have, but their biggest enemy strikes them again, which seems to be time.
Damn it, time.
Not as in timing in the round, but actually the CET clock, that doesn't seem to favor them. And the Soniqs, they are just playing perfectly fine as well. They're completely playing into the weaknesses of MNM currently. They're slowing them down just enough, so there's not really anything they can do. They start to go for drops through the kitchen hedge in those basement takes, and they just take them out one by one. Give them nothing else, however. Just when you need it, you swing it. And right now, as MNM have opened up quickly into the CCTV, it's only step one of many to actually end up in the gym area. We never really see the pressure coming down from the jacuzzi from the get-go on the side of MNM. And that gives the opportunity for players like Super, like Kenzen, to rotate around through the back of the side if the need may be there. As the pressure comes in from below first, they want to take CCTV cash under control. It is their priority. But they need to get that red stairs under control first, and the cash as well.
They have a player not too far away. Do they know that he's just on the opposite side of the lobby door? It's a wide swing. Not quite wide enough. They are watching. Solotov has the scent. Does Solotov have the kill? Yes. Yet he wasn't entirely sure and confident, and as they pull themselves away, suddenly it turns into the situation of they're free to fish for grenades underneath. The shield gets popped, and Grixer goes through it.
Okay.
He didn't want to be in there, and I don't blame him, because he knows that behind that is going to be a heftier push and probably a second grenade.
Yeah, of course, there is going to be more utility tossed in, but it leaves Rexon alone. He will be able to pick up the very first kill, instantly traded out by Tyron Doe. Puts it into a 4-on-3 situation, still in favor of MNM, and this time more time on that clock. 80 seconds left, and there is plenty to go for here. However, the Soniqs, they still have only that one-man deficit. It's easy to fight back from, especially with everybody back on that side, looking to retake control of the logistics area as well. Grixer close on the window. Will be potentially able to find a kill onto users. I believe that is playing close. The grenades are being tossed in, getting rid of these evil eyes. Have they managed to find the right time to strike, which Grixer is currently trying to achieve? No C4 left in hand, but the reload is about to be completed. The jump out is there, and the kill gets confirmed. That's exactly what they needed, and as they try and push themselves through back into billiards, Kenzen finds one as well. Nello gets picked up, but Tyrant below will at least confirm Grixer. A 2-on-2 with 35 seconds left on the clock, and the Soniqs are back in it.
Well, that grenade was always going to pot him just behind the billiards table. Now, they've got to see if they can flood their way in. 30 seconds. The main stairs is going to be the next point of ingress. It is such an awkward fight, made even worse when you're revealed by the camera. Neo has to cause a little bit of noise and a little bit of commotion on the opposite side to allow the swing. It does not get allowed. Super is able to get one more, and there is one more. Soniqs, 5 rounds to 1 up on Club.
Well played by Dam. They were in that man deficit from quite early on. Even a lot of damage dealt as well due to, of course, that Goyo shield, which, you know, Grixer had to push back through it. It is not something that you'd like to do, but you said it yourselves. It is for terms of safety. This jump out, so important. On that reload, on that finger, suddenly the whole highway presence is gone. And you don't have to worry about these windows anymore. They'll be coming from the inside. And exactly that happened. And the Soniqs are up 5-1. 2 more rounds they need to lock in 3rd place. And with that, proceed to the upper bracket.
It's been a bit of an up and down run for both these teams. And I think that's the fairness of this group is it's been a tricky group. And it's got the stories of potential. It's got the stories of huge teams that can lead themselves in. But here, the fact that it's come down to this and the fact that it came down to the Empire game earlier on today as well against Sandbox, there really was a mixed bag of teams of all high quality and sort of different ways. But the way that they've boiled themselves down at the end of this is a 5-1. Soniqs up, and I think there's a reason everyone's predictions are pretty crazy.
They are pretty crazy. I actually don't know who I went for in this game. I think I was really doubting between MNM and Soniqs, because at some point I was like, the Soniqs, they really badly need it, but MNM kind of do as well. They have the opportunity to lock in 1st place. So it wasn't like a team had nothing left to play for, like we'll have later with Damwon Kia, for example, who are 5 points clear of every other team in the group and is still playing today. That is how dominant they have been in their group. They can literally just do whatever they want, switch up all their roles for that best of 3, and it wouldn't even impact them that much. But either way, we are not at a Demon Kia game. That will be later today. We are here at Soniqs MNM, and the Soniqs are a map up, but now 4 rounds as well. Only 2 rounds away from locking it off and pushing themselves into the 3rd place of the group. Right behind the Ninjas in Pajamas, after Empire have locked in their 1st place.
If Soniqs can get off to a good attacking start here, they can put themselves on map point 6-1. I mean, they make things so awkward and uncomfortable for the approach there of MNM. MNM, they've got to see if they can try and just lock it off. Build themselves before they have to rebuild a much more stressful divide. Soniqs are 2 rounds away from locking out this series 2-0 and pulling that full 3 points and securing themselves an extra game and an extra lifeline. But MNM have done big comebacks before.
Have made big comebacks before, and I mean, just an example of it was that close European qualifier, which is of course the running meme right now. It wasn't even on their welcome card. They went down to the lower bracket, and they went through a full best of 5 in the end to make it and get to the 6th Invitational, where they beat a team that basically kept them out of the European League a year before that day. So a little bit of a comeback coming through. It's a freshly promoted team taking on, well, the top seed of North America, the Soniqs right now. And you can start to see it here. They are absolutely dominant on their defenses here on the Clubhouse area. MNM, even though they had man advantages, were not able to lock it out in the end. And now they'll be on the defense themselves, and the Soniqs get to portray their brilliance in attack on this map, their expertise. And Yetis tries to open up at least a little bit for potentially a grenade right through, as you see it being prepared right now. That should take care of at least a small hole and create an angle for him to potentially find a head from, as he does find a little bit on Tyrant.
Ooh, just a scratch, just a scrape, and Tyrant pulls himself a bit further back, knows the danger of the angles that come through, but it's Kansan that almost gets a bit back. There's another bit of a legs. It's the C4, though, that secures Super and takes care of the diffuser carrier. At that point, he'd done his job. With the hatches open, the Thermite's been able to get some of that put together. Solotov, however, makes things a little bit more awkward. They've got to take a hot drop with a 2 versus 1 versus 5. MNM have set up a firing line, and they've made sure that anybody that even eyes the floor below is going to, well, not meet it with their soul still intact. A flawless from MNM to open their defenses.
First flawless we've had, and here as well, time seemed to be an issue. At the moment, Soniqs were basically forced to find an opening, but there was not really anything MNM was gifting them at that moment in time. And as a result, they managed to take the win in the first flawless round in this series, because we haven't had any yet. As we continue right now, no tactical timeout being called for now. Soniqs, they have that little time left, you know, they can wait 1-2 more rounds before it's time to call for it and potentially try and bring it back. Also last game, no tactical timeout called. Joe Bro decided that it was probably better to let the team sort things themselves and really utilize it if it came down to it in the end there. Of course, they were never at a map point disadvantage. Now, they still are not, and they have the odds to reach that point first. They have the odds and the percentages and everything like that to be the first to reach the 6 mark. And with that, get a match point, a luxury that is not in the hands of MNM anytime soon.
All the way to gym. All the way to gym, we find ourselves circling and setting up for a slightly different pool with that frost on the board. It means things are a little bit awkward. You don't truly expect people to get caught in those, but you've got to deal with them. And it limits that fast push play that we know Soniqs like to do. Double stacked shield on the top and the slightly higher top of red stairs to give them the swing onto the breach if it happens on CC, and also a little bit more caution if they want to try and watch down the stairs itself. It's sort of a stack of utility. It's a heavy cost to make sure that you can have it as a bastion. You've got to ensure that nobody's able to truly get just a grenade in, which would absolutely devastate everything.
Alrighty, 2:30 on the clock, and Super is looking to open up quickly here onto the Jacuzzi wall. There might be a new jammer. You saw the drone there was quickly struggling, however, that doesn't seem to be the case. It's further back, it's at the bathroom area, and that means an opening can be made and will be detonated as we speak. Jacuzzi has been opened up, and MNM, they are quite heavily around the CCTV area, but 2 shields, look at that, by the way, a couple of reinforcements, 3 ADSs, everything is out there. The Super will now be opening up into CCTV as well. At least their utility hasn't been in vain. Let's just put it up like that, because I was afraid for a second as soon as the opening in Jacuzzi came that everybody would just pack it up and move it all back towards the side itself. Not the case, of course. And this first smoke canister got used, I saw in the overview, near the actual logistic hatch. They were afraid that a quick drop might come through on any of these Soniqs players. Not the case. As Kansan tries to put up some pressure onto these red stairs, it's a grenade that will follow shortly and takes out at least one of those shields and puts Neo in a bit of a rougher position.
There it is, a rougher one for users though. Taken out and grenaded off the board. They still actually have both the shields. The ADS was able to catch it and that grenade didn't quite roll to the place it needed to be, but the drones are still working away and it might have destroyed, you probably did, that original ADS. There's still the one that's closest to the shield, but that's sort of more of a do or die. There's a swing over the top and Kansan!
That is unfortunate.
Connects with Neo, is able to find the kill themselves. Solotov just has to get out of there at this point. It's a 5 versus 3. You do not want to give them a 5 versus 1 engagement, trying to just desperately hold on to the backside of construction. It was a bold take, a bold swing, and it's something that's rewarded them as they go to set themselves up here across the opposite side. They are looking for that hold, they're looking for that angle, and you can see Solotov's gone for a bit of width there, back across logistics. He's going for the hold and the pressure.
Have to be careful though, there is frost mats on these windows, I am pretty sure. Tyrant, of course, playing that operator, so a jump in from the highway might not work out in the bedroom itself. The gym seems to be a little bit more safe, but Nello is the shark that's hiding in there as Tyrant spots out one of these players. The pressure now soon will be on Nello, who's hiding right behind the gym. Wait, Super is trying to get a bit of an angle in as well. The Selms are being tossed in, but denied by the side of Tyrant. Solotov will be able to pick up a kill, but instantly gets traded out. It's a 3-on-2 situation now as Nello tries to rotate back. Tyrant falls. It's only up to him now. It's a creation sensation that needs to keep them through. 15 seconds on the clock. Is he able to successfully do it? But no, he is not. It is the Soniqs that push for a map and match point here on the gym side, and that leaves them with 4 more rounds where they have the opportunity to take the series.
That's it. It's match point, it's map point, but it's series point. It could be a quick day at Clubhouse here for MNM. They have 4 rounds. They need to try and pull back. They opened up on their defense well, but you cannot just build it off of Church. They've got to have a flawless 3 plus 1 extra if they want to have that rotation. Bar stage.
That is very brave, I'm going to say. I mean, they found success at Church. That is currently locked. At this stage, it is the entire series at point. And they clearly do not have faith in their CCTV lineup. That is what we can conclude out of that. So the bar on the stage, they will be used. And MNM will be playing it. We haven't seen it that successful over this 6 Invitational yet. In general.
In general.
Haven't seen it too successful yet. So the Soniqs, they have a good chance of locking it off here. Or MNM must have thought of something genius for this site, for this map. And decided that that is exactly what they need to stay in it.
Okay, MNM, now the stretch and the pressure is on you. Soniqs, their problem yesterday was, well, they would get very close to map point and then sort of fizzle. Here, they had that pop. They have that little bit extra of deliciousness that's carried them towards the match point. And MNM, they found themselves, unfortunately, floundering. The handful of C4s and explosives and the setup and stretch, the intel here is going to be that backline that it's offered. No Echo on the board, nothing to give them that sort of safety of pulling themselves further away from the sites. They've got to have those engagements. They've got to make sure that they keep that clarity above and on the back line of Kitchen.
First RC Rotero being used to take out an Evil Eye. Freely taken Evil Eye, just activated and then realized that's it. That is the life of that bubble. That is not going to be living very long, and it's a very important piece of utility instantly taken out by the hands of Soniqs, by the hands of Kansan, who is having an amazing game as well so far. Whereas Rexon lived up in the previous one and completely, well, picked apart MNM for everything they were worth. It's basically Kansan's job right now. Double that, actually, with the use of the RC Retiros, where he takes out the utility on the direct side as well and basically forces them to go for these gunfights in the end. It is 4 match points for the side of the Soniqs, and as they set up anything ready to go for a flank later on, it's a lot of them might just jump right into that Claymore that just has been deployed.
You can hear so much being popped off there, and as you said, the Claymore just under that positioning. Solotov had an idea that someone was there, and he sprays through. He's sort of angling with the stretch, but to be honest, he doesn't massively need to retake territory. It might be a roam later that gets punished, but it's sort of that game of he's still on that up position.
No.
Oh, they knew. Rexon gets the opener there. Tyrant is taken out of it. It's one of the best gunners that they've had so far this showdown, this playday. They're out the board early. Nello, one of the others, is almost suffering here. He's had a couple of moments, but with the pressure coming over from Strip, with the pressure being put against those bodies above inside the bedroom, Soniqs, they're slowly wrapping their hands around this hold.
Definitely trying to wrap it around indeed, as the rest of the Soniqs are trying to get into a position to take that top floor. It is the first kill that comes through. However, Grixer will be able to find a response to Nello, as Solotov found Rexon a little bit earlier on. The site has been opened up and they seem to be ready to go for a plant at some point. But they need to get the hatch control. That is the big issue here. Solotov, as long as he plays above this hatch, there is no way they can go for a plant without taking any heavy losses. Super, however, gets in the middle of the smoke and will decide to sneak it in. The C4 does not actually go through. They have to try and get the verticality, but they fail. Solotov goes down, the plant comes through, and the Soniqs are just 2 kills away, 40 seconds out of making it to the 3rd place of their group. And as Jesus rotates down as quickly as he possibly can, long angles are being watched by Yeti all the way back in the strip. Everybody is off the side. MNM, they need to retake now.
They had all the control that they needed, Soniqs, and they are making it work. A GG comes through from Rexon. There's that NASS that has famously been perpetrated across all of this. Grixer with another for his tally, and we hit that marker that means MNM lose the series. GG's to Soniqs, who picked up the pieces of yesterday. It's back and forth for both these two teams, but Security is still on the board. And they still have to beat every single other one, so congratulations for now. A day off, and then it all kicks off again.
That's it, they got a day off and they know how much it means. They got the win, they got the improvement they wanted, because yesterday against NIP they struggled a little bit here and there. Some rounds were lost in unfortunate ways where they had massive advantages but lost the diffuser, but they worked on that. They made sure they had the control, they made sure they had the save ground to go for these objective-based plays, because that is exactly what Soniqs is about. They want to get these plans down, and they successfully did so here today as well. They take the win, they take the 3rd place, they take the extra life. And MNM, as they started off great, unfortunately for them, will be ending in that 4th place spot and be a team confirmed for the lower bracket in 2 days.
Well, that's it. They gave it all the fight that they could, and obviously it's been, as we said, up and down for both these teams. But Security is here, and you know they'll be having a lot of conversations, scrims and practices before they get back into it, because there's still a lot of work ahead of them. Soniqs 2-0 off the back of 0-2 yesterday from the OTs that we saw versus NIP. They were able to at least get an upswing to the end. MNM, unfortunately, they end on a little bit of a downer.
A little bit indeed, and well, they'll probably, you know, they said it before they even started already. The early games, they don't really suit them, but how long can you go on that at some point, right? I mean, small mistakes were definitely made. There was also moments of greatness within the roster, just unfortunately, they weren't quite able to translate it into maps at the end. Whereas Soniqs, they were able to. Their defenses were super strong on the side of Clubhouse. 5 in a row in the end there, and eventually locking it off as well with just a 7-2.
But enough about us. Let's throw it to a break and head over to our analysts to break that series down.